A very, very happy good afternoon to everyone present here. We welcome you all to the In Skill Enhancement Program offered by Vidyadan. Speaking about Vidyadan is a non-profit organization focused at empowering the underprivileged children, youth, and women through the power of education. At Vidyadan, we are committed to providing quality education in India, helping the disadvantaged children from the disadvantaged group, realize their complete potential and inspire the younger generation to work for the development of the rural section of the society. Hence, we at Vidyadan, we organize a lot of different types of activities, and this is a part of our series in helping the teachers enhance their skills. Before we move forward with the workshop of the day, which I am also very eagerly awaiting, I request Anagha PS, who is a grade 10 student and a member of Vidyadan, to please start the prayer, the very powerful prayer praying for humanity. Anagha, over to you, dear.
मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृदयत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृदयत्रीम् आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृदयत्रीं जननीं पृथिवीं कामदुगास्ते जननीं पृथिवीं कामदुगास्ते जनको देवः सकलदयालुः जनको देवः सकलदयालुः दाम्यतदत्त दायत्वं जनता दाम्यतदत्त दायत्वं जनता श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां.
Thank you, Anagha. Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam. May humanity live happily in prosperity ever after. The need of the hour, the need of the day. Okay, without further ado, we move on to the topic of the day, which is a terrific topic, I would say. Common errors and challenges in mathematics. This topic, personally, I found it quite interesting because I was really bad at math. And to walk us through the session, briefing us about common errors and the challenges in mathematics, we have with us Padmaja Marathe ma'am. Padmaja Marathe ma'am, she is someone who needs no introduction because she has been the face in Nagpur in many of the schools whether it be capacity building program, whether it be training workshops, whether it be empowering workshops, etc. She has been the face for a very long time in Nagpur. She served as a principal for more than 18 years in Nagpur. And what caught my attention was she was a very popular sports person during her college days. So that was one of the most intriguing parts for me, because mathematics and sports, that was something completely unique. So from that itself, I could say that she is a perfect person to speak to us about the challenges in mathematics, because sports is a lot about mathematics. So I'm sure she would guide us through, and we all would enjoy and find the session really fruitful. Over to you, Marathe ma'am. Thank you so much.
So much, Indira ma'am. You spoke too high for me. I'm still a learner and learning from all of you. Maybe today it's not you taking from this workshop, but I'll be taking a lot from this workshop, because almost 190 participants. So I have so many teachers to teach me in one go. So I'm so happy to see you all here. And I really pray that you all are safe and strong. You carry on this noble profession from the core of your heart and with a lot of passion for your subject. Just a query, like if I could know, you all are from the same background of 10th mathematics or the lower classes, it will be easier for me to share the examples, and the topic can be converted to that way around, because that will give me an opportunity to go down the level as well and create a ladder system for our workshop. So you can just put in the chat box, right? I'll be sharing my screen. Just give me a second. And we start, because we have got few time to go on, and I have to have some question hour session with you. So I welcome you all, and I go with the very simple quote of mathematics, which may not teach you to love or hate, but yes, it will give you a positive feedback that yes, every problem has a solution. And sure, this 1.5 year of pandemic has taught all of us, being in home or out of home, we were finding solutions and we were keeping the fire burning. So I'm sure maths does that fire to keep us burning. A good mathematics is not about how many answers you know, but it's all about how you behave when you don't know. Since we all are teachers, I consider myself as a teacher equally. So it's more when you don't know, when you get stuck up in a class, when you are not well prepared. It's that time when how you behave or how you take that moment, and that speaks about all a teacher in you. So this is where I would feel you are defined as a teacher. So my namaste to all. I honor the divine in you, because it's a COVID time, so no shake hands, no hi, hello, but it's namaste. And we begin. So feeling so blessed that I'm part of this organization, or this organization has given me a platform, an opportunity to share, and I hope I come to their expectations. I welcome you all. I am Mrs. Padmaja Marathe, principal presently for Seva Sadan Saksham School. And the topic for today is challenging areas and common errors in mathematics. Yes, when the word maths comes, almost in a common man, there is a goosebump. But we as maths teachers know that maths is not a subject of goosebump. It is the most interesting subject. I'm sure you all believe it. You know, I have just started a ice breaking over here. You think of a number. So you all are here and you're thinking of a number. If I could get a person unmuted, I can see Jaya Sudha ma'am. If Jaya Sudha ma'am can unmute herself and answer, we would have a small game and then we can proceed for it. Is Jaya Sudha ma'am online? Okay. This is a small game designed for primary classes. When you are teaching them the concept of prime numbers, composite numbers, even numbers, odd numbers, if you design such small game that asks them to think of a number, now it is for primary classes, so think of a number between 1 to 10 or 1 to 15, and ask 3 of any of these options, and you will come to the answer. The child will feel so comfortable and so confident. So when as a teacher you open up your class, do not go to the topic directly, but go with some ice-breaking activity. So if you think of a number and if I ask Jaya ma'am, is it a composite number? And if I could get yes or no from her, we can proceed. I believe she's unable to unmute herself. Okay, then over to you, Indira ma'am, because you said you were not very comfortable with mathematics. So can I bring back your mathematics day? Not of fear, but of love and happiness. Sure, it will be a enjoyment. So when you start your class with such ice-breaking activities, the child will gain confidence in you. You will have a good rapport build up, and there won't be any challenging areas left out. Though which few of which are left out, we are going to solve it here today. We are on these days on an online mode of teaching and learning process. So the process has changed a bit. The rapport which we had physical is missing. So most of the time it is show, text, or email. And or at times, because we are online, they are not 100% with us. They are in their home environment. They misinterpret our teaching, our content delivery. So how are we going to go about in this teaching learning processes with all these challenges to come out? What is that you're going to take away today after the 1 hour's workshop? So why students face problems in maths? What are the challenging areas in learning of mathematics? And of course, if I'm putting some questions, what are the remedial measures also will be suggested to you. So you won't go empty handed, but you will have some remedial measures as well. So with your experience, you must have also noted down few reasons why students face problems. And if they face problems, even I have compiled certain statements. Why do they face problem? Might be you might experience the same, and if you have something different, you can unmute yourself and tell after I share the statements. So here I go. The way in which the
Ma'am, can you
topics are
show the
introduced.
previous slide?
Sorry.
Can you show the previous slide, please?
Is the discussion points why students face problem, challenging areas in learning of mathematics, what remedial measures can be suggested for these problems.
Thank you.
Now, few statements which I have compiled here. The way in which the topics are introduced is inappropriate. So as I said, when we enter the class, most of the time math teachers have two things to carry with them, a chalk and a duster and a textbook. And they have a lot of deadlines in their mind going on. Yes, I have to complete these exercises. These problems are lengthy. I have to move on to the next lesson, time, deadline. So sometimes with all these pressures around us, sometimes because of our unpreparedness, the topic is not delivered the way it should have been. And maybe that is where the child starts facing problem. There is a lack of understanding of a concept. See, today it's me who is the speaker, and we have listeners almost 200 plus. So every listener has his or her own perception. Same way is for the child as well. They have their own perceptions on with which mood they are sitting in the class, with what kind of backstage they are having the work going on in their back of their mind. And this is how they will take the concept you are teaching. So that can be one of the factors why they start facing problem. There is a lack of practice. Every math teacher, almost on every PTM, is the first one to always say, to the parents, dear parents, please go for practice. Please go for practice more. So yes, there is lack of practice. And those who are teaching almost from last 10, 20 years, they must have seen a drastic change in the generation. That now the generation is not that compatible or not that proactive to go for written practices. So that is one of the reasons. There is more focus on formulae and calculations. So we try to give them more of formulae. We focus on more of calculative part, but we don't tell them the logic or the link between the two steps. And maybe this is where they start getting disinterested from the subject. The importance of learning about a particular concept is not explained to the learner. Yes, when we are teaching a concept, the 360-degree effect is to be shared with the child, with the learner, with the students. So when it is being shared, only then they feel, yes, I have understood it. Mathematics requires a lot of memorization. The most myth a student carries is in her mind or his mind is, I have to memorize a lot. I have to keep the formulae in my mind. I have to rote learn the concept. And this is where they start then hating the subject. Students are often distracted due to lack of interest or ineffective teaching. Here is where we have most of the responsibility is on our shoulders as teachers. How we keep our class interactive. The time spent on interacting with student is less. I'm sure all the teachers, they must be giving me a thumb up, yes. But if you see the number of periods we get are good enough for a week. How we design our lesson plan, we can have this interaction time also. And none of the things are copied from any textbook or any material, but yes, which is personally practically done in the classroom is being shared here. So I will not say no, this is not possible. Yes, things are possible. Smart work is needed. There is more focus on finishing the syllabus rather than effective understanding and clarity of concepts. So if you're running with your time and deadlines, with your content material, with your course material, without taking a feedback from the students, I'm sure at the end you will have to repeat the things time and again, because everybody will be with lot of confusion, with lot of misconceptions. So give one concept with all of quality. There is difficulty in comprehension. It sounds a bit apprehensive over here, comprehension in mathematics. But yes, every subjects are interlinked. We have learned with our multidisciplinary activities, which we have been conducting in our schools, right? So if at all I say, yes, if we are teaching maths in Hindi or in English, language plays a vital role. And comprehend is to, when you read, you start understanding or you start breaking it down. So sometimes they are finding it difficult to comprehend the concept. So why do you think students commit error? We know these are the facts. We are trying to overcome it. Still students commit errors. So what can be the reason for that committing of errors? Can you just quickly pen down some of your experiences over here? Why do you think they are committing error? I'll be happy to see some of your experiences in the chat box. It's 218, lack of concentration, lack of practice. I said confusion between the operations. Yes. Tension, lack of confidence, fear. Yes. Hurry to reach results, lack of clarity. Agree. Misconception. Yes, they have fear. Lack of basic knowledge. Wonderful. Lack of the base. Yes, hasty and laziness together. It's giving us a contradictory. Do not learn tables at all. Lack of interest. Wonderful. Yes. So they are slow. They're confused. They're careless. Yes. So let's try to find out what is the reason for all these things. Difficult to imagine. Is maths the subject that you give them and they understand completely? Just recall a class of Montessori. When the child was taught shapes, I'm sure every teacher of Montessori tries to carry as many things from homes which are related to the shape. Now recall a class that you are in 6th standard or maybe in 7th standard and you're giving them a class, a concept, an important concept of, let's say, surface area, volume, or area, perimeter, or statistics. Do you see that math teacher of 6th and 7th every time carrying such objects which they have been seeing throughout their day? So this is where they are unable to imagine. They are finding it difficult to imagine. So this is one of the reason why they start committing error, because they are unable to associate. If you have done your in B.Ed we have learned that when we teach with association, the concept is registered effectively and it's a long-lasting concept. So we have to give them that space to imagine the concept which we are teaching. Lacks real life connectivity. As I said, shapes, and we carry lot many objects from our home. So if for every lesson, maybe whichever class it is, if we make it a thing which they can see, they can feel, they can touch, and it can be connected to the life. Maybe we are talking about profit and loss, and we ask them to collect the bills and receipts, or we are asking them to collect the temperatures of the city from the newspaper. So there are so many examples, and make a graph on it. There are so many examples that we can connect our topics to the real life. We can make them apply it in their real life. But when we miss this out, they start committing errors. Thinking skill, we don't give them space to think. How many of us in the class go to the class with the exercises, write the problem and write the solution also? Do we tell them to break the question, think and tell me, so that when they think, we know, we start analyzing what they have understood, or how, in what way they have taken the concept. So a space for them is to be given where they can think before we give them the solution. Yes, abstract learning. Most of the time, in suppose I had a fear for maths, it unknowingly, at the in the subconscious way, it percolates to my sibling or my children that yes, maths is difficult. So somewhere if I felt कि maths में कुछ नहीं दिखता है, सब imagine करना पड़ता है. So the same is being passed on to the next generation, and they come with the same thought in the class कि oh, it's an abstract subject. I won't get anything at my hand. So it's there that the fear starts getting developed, or the confidence starts getting diminished, and they start committing errors. Rote learning. So sometimes, this 1 year when the child has been at home and we were only on virtually meeting each other, we don't meet them in corridors or in the school premises as we used to do earlier. But now when they are only at home, the mother says, "Acha nahi samjha, ratta maar le, copy kar lena exam mein." It's like that. So rote learning is also one of the reason ki they when the concept is not connected further, it was rote learned, they start committing the errors. Language proficiency, very important, I would say. We ignore this fact, but if a child is not having language proficiency, as I said, if you are teaching maths in Hindi or maybe in English, but if the child is not having that command on a particular language, he will find it difficult to comprehend the question. He will find it difficult to understand the concept and then comprehend the question. So language proficiency is at most important. You have planned your lesson, you have a way of teaching in your class, but sometimes you have new students who cannot adapt to your own instructional strategies. So this is where they carry certain things from their own perception and start committing errors. So there has to be some flexibility in your instructional strategies also. So when you plan your lesson, when you write your daily lesson plan, ensure that you don't have one child, but you have 40. Ignoring the ladder system, I would say this is one of the very important aspect. When you sit in a staff room as teachers, instead of talking about TV serials or the market updates, if you all sit and you all connect the subject from standard 1 to standard 10th, the subject will be delivered more effectively in all the classes, and you won't have to go back again every time for the previous knowledge, for the previous teaching, and come back and teach for this year, because you must have experienced that when you are teaching in suppose 7th and 8th and there is a decimal multiplication, the children go with a topsy-turvy with it. So if at all the teacher in 4th and 5th has taken good efforts for decimal multiplication, you at 7th standard will not face problem, and that can be done with interaction between you all. So interaction in the staff room amongst you teachers as a group is very important. And as all of you said, lack of practice, right? Now, carelessness, lack of confidence, laziness, hasty, all this comes because somewhere our instructional strategies are not managing all these points. So these are the outcomes, I would say, which come because of that. So let us break down what are exactly errors. What are the different kinds of error children are committing when they are doing maths? So one is conceptual error. The name very clearly says it is based on the concept, that you have taught the concept, but they have applied it wrongly. Second is procedural error. They know the concept, but while doing it in the steps, they make a mistake. And then there are certain errors which are human errors, specifically in geometry. When you're drawing constructions of figures, there are human errors because of your lack of concentration. Now, children are not born afraid of maths, they learn to fear it. Don't go to the statistics, you will feel very depressed. But yes, if you remember, up to class first or up to class second, a child will love the subject of maths because they see wonderful, colorful books, lot of things in the books, lot of pictures in the books which they see in their day-to-day life, the toys, the bunny, the flowers, the butterflies, and they're happy to do that. But as they move from second standard to third to fourth, it's less of picture, more of words and numbers, and slowly they start getting disinterested. Now it's here where the teacher's role is more impactable, and it's here where she should take that challenge. I'll bridge up that gap and make the subject interesting, and my delivery would be very effective with them. So let us see few examples of errors and how we can make it more effectively. So you see, when you are still reaching a class and there has been a problem left out for them, every child tries to discuss and gives his or her opinion, is what the picture is talking all about. So which is not possible this year or probably the coming year as well, but earlier it was. Now if you have to be very effective in your class, check the previous knowledge of every child. How to check? I'm sure with your experience with B.Ed being trained, this becomes more easier. Practice and revision. Every day in your class when you go, ice break the first part. Introduce ice breaking. Brainstorming should be the first part of your lesson. Second, whatever you have taught a day before, just have a discussion back whether they are able to recall or not, and then go ahead with today's deal. And before concluding, ensure that they are left out with something which they can practice on. Involvement in the learning process. Yes, today if it's me who is only going to speak, you will start feeling boring. Above all, it's 2 to 3 post lunch hour, so all the more you will take undue advantage of this time and video being off. So if I don't involve you in the process, you will really get bugged up. So it's more important if you allow them to get involved. Also, it will help you to improve their thinking skill. Rather, at the same time, if at all they have misunderstood a concept or they're applying it wrongly, you will get an opportunity to assist them then and there itself. So you will be mentoring and monitoring them if you are involving them in your learning process. Design your lesson plans where you keep some part for the child to get involved with you. Connecting mathematics with day-to-day life. I think everybody sitting must be thinking, ma'am is again and again coming with the same thing. But it's not that I'm going to come here. I'm going to give you examples how we can connect with topics. So which I have been doing. So you will not say, so I have a proof and I have a trust that which I have done is working successfully. So you will be able to do it definitely. So these are few errors which I have taken. Maybe even you have experienced the same. The identity a plus b whole square. So instead of 2ab, they will always come out with only a square plus b square. If it's under root a plus b, they will nicely segregate under root a and under root b with the sum sign. If it is only under root a square plus under root b square, they'll take it as a plus b. 1 upon a plus b, they will disintegrate the fraction. This is for higher classes. Sine of x plus y, very easily they take it as sine x plus sine y. Now, the moment you see in their notebook this kind of incorrect methods being used, it's based on their concept. Don't scold them, but have a discussion with them and try to clear the concept then and there only. Few more. Sine to the power n, like it's sine nx when we say. So they put the power of n at the x, but it is for the trigonometric ratio. Cos 85, they very clearly write is as sine 90 minus 5, whereas it should be sine 90 minus 85. 3x square. Now this is a quadratic part. This is a common thing which we see, start watching it from standard 8 onwards only. The 3x square, the x should have been brought to the left hand side, but they have a very, for them, the pleasing activity is to cut, cancel. So they love to do that and they come out with a wrong answer. 2, it's outside the bracket and the bracket has a power of 2. So before opening the bracket, BODMAS rule, now this is such a basic thing. Before opening the bracket or applying BODMAS rule, they multiply it by 2 and they fall with the wrong answer. So the first thing is expand the bracket and then multiply by 2. Very commonly seen error, the use of bracket is not done. Under root 9 plus under root 16, for them it is 9 plus 16, that is under root 25. So under root 25 is 5. But correctly if done is under root 9 becomes 3, under root 16 becomes 4, and then the answer is 7. As I said, they love to cancel. So x plus x upon x, very happily they would cancel x and they would write the answer as 4, whereas we have to disintegrate and divide. The same is shown here. 1 by 2, 2 is outside the bracket. In the bracket, 2x plus 3y. Since 2x is in the form of term, 2 cannot be cancelled, but they do it and then they follow it with a wrong answer. Now, many of the calculations errors occur because students do not estimate the answer. Now, this is a topic which we have taught them in almost 5th standard, round of to 10, round of 200. Estimation is taught them to, is given to them. But do we just ask yourself when you go in the market and when you're purchasing not one item but 8 or 10 items, do we start making an estimation in the back of our mind how much I'm spending? So this is what we have to tell the child. Try to estimate the answer whenever you are playing with numbers, be it in the market, be it at home, or you are playing some game of business with your sister and brothers. Still keep that estimation with you. So that usage, if it is regular, frequently, definitely most of the errors will be, will try to get deleted off. So you're dividing, so it is very common to find when you divide a 4-digit number by a 2-digit number, they forget to take that 0 and they write the answer also as a 2-digit. So here, if they have been knowing what is estimation, at least they would have thought, why am I getting a 2-digit answer in my question? They would write again. So this is where we need estimation to be hammered to them time and again. In the formula, time is equal to distance upon speed. If speed increases, time taken increases. Now, inverse proportion and direct proportion has to be informed to them again and again. This is the same example. P upon P plus Q is equal to P upon P plus P upon Q. They disintegrate the denominator if denominator has 2 terms without thinking much. These are few things which they start keeping in their mind from a very lower classes. So what are the commonly observed errors? Now, if I have participants from all the background, so it goes as fractions, writing pattern. So how, like where to write the numerator, where to write the denominator is to be checked out. If at all the fraction is of double denominator, so if you get 1 upon x upon y, where the second y goes. So that mistake also they make many a times because it is having double denominator. We have not spoken to them that this double denominator will go in the numerator because it is multiplicative inverse. The concept of multiplicative inverse is being ignored over here. Bindu ma'am, I think your digital pen is working. So if you could clear it out. Formatting the given numerals. Yes, somebody did write the operations are not done correctly. Specifically, when it starts with operations of unlike denominators, when it is taking LCM and doing it, they make all the more mistakes, or the very common error they make is the numerators are added and the denominators are added and the answer is written. So this is because they are making a confusion between two concepts, multiplying 2 fractions and adding 2 fractions with unlike denominators. Transposition, change of sign. As operation play a vital role, same is change of sign. So when you change a number from left hand side to right hand side, the sign changes and equally the operation changes. This fact at times they forget. It's not only the school children, but I have seen with students who have reached to even graduation and post-graduation level. So somewhere down the line in their lower class, if that was hammered or that was pulled out, they would remember in their higher classes as well. Position of a decimal point after multiplication and division. A common error. That is why I had chosen that picture to show that whenever it is multiplication, whether the decimal point will move right hand side or it will move left hand side. This is a common error they carry in their mind. Our class has so many different kinds of children. So if we could make them do it physically to remember, they will always carry in their mind. When we are doing LCM and HCF, uniqueness of arithmetic logarithm. Now, this is a theorem which is taught in standard 10th directly as per our NCERT textbooks. But if at all we are teaching LCM and HCF from the lower classes, say almost from 4th standard, we start taking this concept. And we teach them that you have to follow a certain, system over here, that you have to first check by 2, then by 3, then by 5. So when we are teaching them, and when directly in 10th standard we tell them that order of factors doesn't matter for us. When you are using prime factorization, order of prime numbers do not matter to us. They get confused. Rather, they start either this teacher is not doing correctly, or my previous teachers had been always giving me a wrong concept. So to avoid this, in the lower classes when we teach them, if we just give them a hint, at present I am teaching you with the order because it's better if you check with the lower number first, then the next higher and the next higher. It is easier. Later on, you may, with your practice, you will realize the order is not important. They will not have that kind of a confusion ki why my teacher had taught me wrong or this teacher is teaching wrong. Test of divisibility. You give a large number to a student of 7th standard and ask him to divide or ask him to estimate the answer when you are multiplying two numbers. They would have all kind of goosebumps in their, the reason is because test of divisibility, which is a common thing and which we use time and again in complete 5th standard, complete 6th standard, is missed out thereafter. So if we tell them when you are multiplying two numbers having the last number in the digit, last unit digit as 2 and 2, definitely your answer will have the last digit as 4, estimated answer. So this kind of examples, if we give them, that test of divisibility will be in their mind. Or can you divide a particular number? So ask them to check the test of divisibility, though the number might be larger to see. Concepts of terms and factors. As we saw example, x plus 4 upon x, and they easily cancel the x. So somewhere down the lane, we don't tell them ki it's not cancellation. It is when I have 2x upon x, I can divide x upon x because here they are factors. Because the process here is only of division. The operation is only of division. But when I have x plus 4 upon x, I have addition and then division. So when I have addition, I have terms, not factors. So only factors can be divided or multiplied. Terms cannot be. So this x cannot. So talk about terms. I mean, this is a technical word. Talk about terms, talk about factors. When you can divide or cancel them, when they can be divided by each other. So that's where we as teachers have to play a bigger role. In topics like area and perimeter, difference between area and perimeter. This is a common thing. I know the formula. It is 2 times length plus breadth or L length into breadth. But which formula is for perimeter or which formula is for area, or why is this formula for perimeter and why is this formula for length? If we miss out this explanation, this confusion will stay with them for longer period of time. So when you are introducing such topics, make them, or whenever you are giving a formula or an identity, explain them, give them the idea why is it so. Because you will have in a class 4 or 5 children who are thinking why, not all of them. But if you give for all of them, I'm sure not only those 5, but another 10 will get added as a good mathematics students for your class. Overlapping and shaded region. So I'm going to share examples of overlapping and shaded region. And the very important is metric conversions. As is metric conversions, so are the figures or so are the values of trigonometric specific angles. How to keep in mind, I have to learn, I have to learn, I have to do it, rectification of this kind of topic. Encourage them not to rectify, but give them a pattern to keep in your mind. If they can visually see it every day in and day out, then they don't need to learn it. Make them do, when you're going to the left, you have to divide by 10, and when you're going to the right, you have to multiply by 10. If these things are done in the class itself, the child who is shy, but he remembers, okay, my friend was asked to jump 2 times on the left, so it was divided, and 2 times on the right, so it was multiplied by 10 and 10. So, this kind of children associate with different patterns. I remember when I was in school, my math teacher always had taught me to write certain formulae in brackets with colorful pen and pencil. And the brackets would not be simple square brackets, but she used to ask us to design it, make some flowers or make some curliness over there. So it was like visually, there were children who were able to recall, okay, I had written it on the left corner of my notebook. It was in with red pen, and they used to recall. So instead of rote learning, visualization can be one of the important factors where these things can be registered in their memory forever. And math is a subject of visualization. You all know it. We imagine, we visualize, and then we go about it. Yes. As I was talking about overlapping pictures, so I'm going to talk about this example. Sorry. Now, here there are crossroads, and so here there are crossroads, and when the two crossroads meet, that darkened square is coming double. So we have to subtract is the concept is the solution we give them. But why are they have to subtract? That they don't remember, because they have somewhere misinterpreted that overlapping part. Or if we see this figure of circle and sector, the sector is a part of a circle and the triangle is also a part of the circle. So you have to subtract one circle. Then, as I said, certain concepts. So if you see figure 13.9, now these are the figures taken from maths book of standard 10. The conical shape, the hemispherical shape, I'm sorry, from the cylinder, the hemispherical shape is being, taken out. So there is a particular word which is being used, like surmounted, scooped out. So when the word scooped out or surmounted is used, this is not actually in their daily English. So these words become new to them, and then they find it difficult to understand. Now, if you connect, when you are teaching the surmounted, 13.7 is a figure for surmounted, that the hemisphere is surmounted on a cube. If you try to connect these questions with perimeter, I'm sure things will become more easier. If you give them an example, the boundary wall was broken, and then we took it inside, and then we rebuilt it after putting it, some part of it inside and again bringing it out, and the perimeter got increased. They will not accept easily. So give them the concept with the basics which they have learned in their lower classes. So how can we overcome? Do you think we can overcome? Yes, we shall overcome, and we will overcome it. So let's see how we can do it. Now I'm giving certain examples, and I'm going to tell how we can make them register for remembering it or recalling it, the concept. Seema goes to swimming classes once in 6 days, piano classes once in 4 days, and a singing lesson class in 8 days. If she has all the three on 1st July, then on which date again she will have all the three? Remember, when the child is in 3rd standard, the word problems, or nowadays it is called as story sum. Some of the books have started naming it as story sum, but we as young children have already learned as word problems. As soon as the word problem starts popping in, what we teachers started finding out was easy way so that the child can remember in the exam. So if the question had the word total, you have to add, remember. So we were hammering that. In the same way, in this question, when Seema goes swimming classes, when the word comes all the 3 days, tell them whether it is LCM or HCF. So connect that word, all the three, to the concept of LCM and HCF. They will remember it forever. They will never have confusion with them. Then give them examples for factors. Same is the second question also. Give them some examples for factors. How you are made to stand for an assembly sounds little absurd in this pandemic time, but yes, most of the children must have experienced assembly before this. Or when you have a gathering and you're arranging the chairs before. See, nowadays we don't tell our students to work it out, but I remember we used to do it as a shramdan in our school. If there is sports day or if there is a gathering in the school, we used to help our teachers. Nowadays parents make a hue and cry, so we don't tell them. But yes, if you are teaching them dignity of labor, why not this also? Or arrange the lower class students, arrange the smaller class children by the higher class volunteers. So when we are giving them this direct examples, they will try to remember them when they are doing their exams also. Okay, when a crowd of students was segregated to stand in row, division was done. So division of children was done. So that is all based on division factors. Now, this is an example which I have taken from standard 10. Find the 11th term from the last term of the AP. Very commonly, children don't read the word last term. They read find the 11th term, they go and make mistakes. That last term towards the first term, when we are, so hammer them ki if it is last term, do not look for one, like first term till the last term. You can reverse them and solve it. Now, in this, if you remember the answer, when the answer comes out, the child is difficult if the answer is 31 and he has to do the 11th term. So the child immediately makes it 31 minus 11. But you have to add 1. And the child gets confused when you say him or her that you have to add 1. Why I have to add 1? So we tell them ki because we are involving or we are including the first term and the last term also. So this is where they miss out, or questions related to days and birthdays also. Questions of probability wherein we take days. So you have to include the first day and the last day also. So they get confused. So give them practical examples with their own birth dates or with their own activities. They will remember it. Yes, so it's all discussion about problems. But ma'am, you have not given us any solutions. So here, I'm sharing some solutions with you, which I have been doing it by sharing the problems also. Use of mathematical language. So is there something called as mathematical language? A big question mark, isn't it? But I do believe, in my personal opinion, yes, there is a mathematical language, a particular mathematical language. As I gave the example, when in third standard, the addition word problems come and the word comes total, the teacher tells, but a total जब आएगा ना तो आपको add करना है. Remaining या left रहेगा तो आपको subtract करना है. So they start giving them hints. So there is something called as mathematical language. There is something called as technical words. Terms and factors, these are the technical words. You cannot say, हाँ इसको काट दो. Actually, they are dividing each other, so they get 1/1. So these are the technical words. So when we go in a class, if we are not prepared with this kind of a language and we are using colloquial language, we are creating a lot of confusion in the mind of the child. So it's better that we always allow ourselves to use the mathematical language. And when I tell students that there are remarks given in the NCERT book, do refer it, do read it, read before you go for your exam. So they look with a spellbound face, they'll look at me, read maths book. So I tell them, read, you will find something which you might be with a confusion or you must have ignored, and that remark or that note is given there. So as a teacher, please focus on the explanation which the book also provides. They have certain words, they have certain explanation which we might be ignoring. So give some time for your textbook. You might be a teacher of 10 years plus, but prepare yourself every day before you go to the class. Connecting to daily life. Very simple example when we start. Yes.
A statement of what the learner.
Yes. Connecting it to daily life. Now, a very simple example when we teach them multiplication of 4, and I have to connect it to daily life. So if I carry leaves of tulsi come in the pattern of 4, right? Or if I carry the leaf of a rose plant, it comes in the pattern of 5. Or bel patti, it comes in the pattern of 3. And we tell them to, give them 10 leaves and tell me what is the total number of leaves. And we start telling them 3, okay, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 3. So repetitive addition as well as multiplication table of 3 is taught, as well as the concept of pattern in shapes can be. So we can connect it to daily life if we really have imagination, creativity, and we have that fire in our heart, the passion for our own subject. We can do that connection with our daily life. Framing the content delivery in correct maths language. Now these solutions are there, but they are on our shoulders. How do we carry out? When you write your lesson plan, when you are preparing yourself for your class, ensure for yourself that I'm going to speak the correct language, I'm going to use it correctly. Plus kar lo, minus kar lo is wrong. It is addition and subtraction. So try to use those words time and again for them. Enhancing a broader vision. Now, what do I mean by this? when they are in lower classes, as I just gave, okay, I'll continue with the example of leaves. When they are in the lower classes and you have taken leaves, those leaves only become helpful for us for repetitive addition, multiplication, patterns, and I can carry forward it to standard 10th also when I teach them arithmetic progression, or I teach them even symmetry in the 6th standard. And this is how, like, if that particular thing is left out in their mind, I'm allowing them to think, I'm allowing them to connect it to the next class also. So I'm giving examples to them which they can connect to the next class as well. So create that broader vision, leave something which they have as a curiosity for the next class. Focusing on interpreting the figures and the words given in the question. When they are reading the question, tell them to interpret. Now, analyzing the question, comprehending the question, sorry, interpreting the question by figure or by words is very important in mathematics. So encourage them to do it. Dr. Anjali Datta, your mic is on.
Madam, I'll see.
Asking to estimate the answer while they read the question. Yes. So if a child is reading, I have 35, I have 502 books and each book costs 35. How much money I'm supposed to pay? Tell them to at least estimate the answer. Okay, 500 into 30. Just estimate. So finally, when your answer will come, you'll be able to define whether I'm correct or wrong. So, hammer on estimating the answer when they read the question itself only. Analyzing the question. This is a practice which I do every time in my class, whenever I'm teaching a theorem or I am teaching even the questions, that divide the theorem statement or divide the questions into 3 parts. What is given, what is to be found out or to be proved, and on what basic or my previous knowledge is it being based on. And everything is based on the previous knowledge. So definitely the child is getting connected to the previous knowledge. So divide, give them a habit to divide the given question into 3 parts. What is given, what basic knowledge I should connect here, and what I'm supposed to find out. If they start analyzing the question, the line of action or the steps of solutions will be in their mindset. They will be able to imagine, and then the speed also will be good for them. Using different patterns of same figures or using different names for same question to enhance their vision, to encourage their thinking skill. Now, very commonly, if I ask you to draw a right angle, everybody would draw a right angle like this. Straight and a left. So you start from straight line and you will take the line towards the right. Sometimes change the right angle, upside down, left to right, right to left. Draw a triangle and name it. And what is the name 90% people give is ABC. Why not XYZ? Why not DEF? So every time when you use a triangle, name it differently. Every time you use a variable, you take X. So at the end of the day, child feels कि X ही variable है, बाकी कोई variable नहीं है. Though you must have defined a variable is any alphabet, but he has concluded because we have been taking it so many times. So try to change it. If you are doing questions which are word problems, at least for practice, use the names which are known to them. Maybe you are using the name of Amitabh Bachchan or Sachin Tendulkar or Salman Khan and Amir Khan. They will feel that someone is very closer to them. I mean, these are the people of 1980s and 1990s now. So when we come towards 2010 plus, the current names have to be used. But if we use such current names to them or celebrities' name to them, they feel somewhere getting connected to it. So try to use different names for the questions. So here are some 10 tips for you to improve math skills when you're delivering the lecture. Make maths relevant and accessible. So ये बहुत hard है, ये आपको अगली क्लास में आएगा. Stop giving such comments and answers to them. I remember when I was a fresher, a very new teacher, just first year of my teaching, and when I went to 10th standard class and I thought, I was about to start trigonometry, and I said, this is the most interesting topic and I love it. So children were, with spellbound to looking at me and were very in doubt, how can it be interesting and easy? So because they learned previously because of the coachings what they get outside. So I said, no, I'll make it interesting for you for sure. And at the end of the lesson, you will be saying, yes, ma'am, it's an interesting. And I made it. So, make it accessible. Present maths differently. Nobody would love eating every day chapati and आलू की सब्जी. कितना भी आलू पसंद हो, every day आलू की सब्जी नहीं चल सकता है. लॉकडाउन में यही सीखा हमने कि हमको रोज वैरायटी चाहिए. So we want variety. We want something which is not mundane, which is not monotonous. So try to give the same thing but with different envelopes. They would accept it very effectively. Focus on progress and not mastering the core skill. So if in a day a child is taking one skill from you, make it, ensure that before he goes, he has got mastery on it. Then only make him free. On the same day, do not hammer it with 10 different things. So break up your lesson or break up your topics in such way. Provide plenty of practical and hands-on opportunities. Ask a child to slice down onions and come and tell you next day, what figures did you see in it? If the child says concentric circle, give him a good pat. So concentric circles, examples of concentric circles, commonly they will tell you is fan. Tell them when you throw a stone in the puddle of water and the whorls which are made are also concentric circle. Or when you bisect a log of wood, there are certain designs which actually counts the year of that tree. So even they are somewhere down the line concentric circle. So give them such example which they can imagine, they can connect it outside the classroom, outside their home, through the windows. Give them these opportunities. Teach multiple methods and don't force one approach. Now with this virtual teaching, I'm sure you must have learned a lot of multiple methods. You must have involved yourself with a lot of multiple methods also. So have those kind of approach with you. Do not just stick to one thing. Challenge the cycle of fear. So if I cannot do operations with minus sign, I am not able to do with larger numbers, operations with minus sign, somehow down the line. Or if I see under root numbers, I cannot do anything. So if it is 10th standard also, or if it is 8th standard also, we are with the same idea. So somewhere when they have fear, start dissecting it and go to the root level where that fear must have taken place in the heart of the child. And I'm sure some extra time, not much, but some extra time will give you this opportunity and the child will be out of that fear. Build opportunities with families. Now this year you must have surely done this. You must have involved the families also whenever you must be giving them a lot of project skills. Whenever you are connecting mathematics with art, with sports, connect it with the family also. Design a linear equation question. Take the age of your father, take your age and design a linear equation question. So at least the child goes and asks the father, what is your age? And I'm designing a question. Or go to your grandfather, connect it with your grandfather and your father. So try to, interact with them, with their family. The moment they get connection, they start enjoying it. Take a project that design 5 questions of linear equation, submit. So you get variety of questions also. At the same time, they get connected to the topic also. Challenge misconceptions. The minute they say, I cannot do one up fraction questions, take them with those questions only, but start with easy to complex always. Do not take the same question at the same moment. Place mathematics into different subjects. Yes, maths can be connected with all the subjects. Whenever there is a question of sector, the minute hand of the clock, and I always ask them, so on latitudes and longitudes, have you learned what is the degree of, what is the time spent for 4 degrees? And somewhere down the line, we are connecting it to the 6th standard geography, though the question is in 10th standard. So try to connect subject with it. Maths can be easily connected with social studies. It can be easily connected with science. Science and maths could go hand in hand, but try to connect it even with Hindi and English also. There are questions wherein I always talk about the tenses. I always talk about the language, because as I said, language proficiency is important. So when I say it's language, now simply in the word problem, the question says the number is reduced by or the number is reduced to. So this by and to makes the entire scenario changed, or the two things are different. So when I say reduced by half, that means only minus half. But when I say it is reduced to half, that means it is equal to 1/2. So make them understand it is connected to English also. Improve your own language. I always introduce myself as a learner. So I learn. So same for you also. Keep learning as much as you can. You know, this will help you to go beyond your own, you know, beyond the shadow of your doubt. And the same, the child will also experience it. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm sharing the screen again. I think I missed out the presentation.
Sure, ma'am, no problem.
Yes. I hope you're not feeling maths as a troublesome, problematic subject, but an interesting subject with the time which we have spent.
It is interesting enough with the time that we've spent together. The common mistakes are, most of them are what I also used to do as a child.
You know, I'll tell you in your ear. Even I was very bad at my maths. Now, but when I started teaching maths, the first challenge which I took was that I'm going to make my class very lively, very interactive. You know, most of the time when I used to be in college, I've seen the maths teachers used to be very mundane, dull, not even wearing matching, you know, coming to college, but not even wearing matching earrings and all. So I used to feel that the other teachers are so looking so smart and all. So this was first thing which I kept in my mind. Whenever I'll go to class, won't be only me speaking, but my eyes, but my hands, but my complete body will get involved in the class, and the child should feel that I'm teaching with complete liveliness. Because when you are with full energy, the children also give you back the same energy. So try to make your class interactive. So some tips I'm going to share. One I have already shared. Dress nicely when you go to the class. Now, how is the classroom? So your classroom is not of one child, it is of 40 children. And every 40 children, they are different from each other. So what basically we have learned is about kinesthetic, auditory, and visual learners. Not only this, but their family background, language, the vernacular language which they use, their socioeconomic status, so many cultural differences, so many other things is making your class a class of diverse learners. So when you design your lesson plan, keep in mind that you are not teaching one child, but a team of different variety of people. You know, when I was sitting quietly for the first 10 minutes before we started, I was watching, I have teachers from Ranchi, I have teachers from South, I have teachers from some Bridgeford school, so many teachers from Bridgeford school. And suddenly then I saw some teachers from Nagpur also. You know, I got a bit nervous. Arey, meri hi gaon se hai. So, you know, I am more accountable because they can meet me anytime and ask me. So, you know, for first 2 minutes, I was nervous. But then I saw that some have already worked with me. And that gave me confidence. So when I was planning my strategy for the session, this is how I was trying to analyze my participants. So try to know your learners when you are going for your class. Focus on conceptual understanding. Do not take the concept, the delivery of concept only in one way, but have variety of ways. Because you don't have one child, you have variety of children. So take one period at least to deliver that concept with 100% dedication. May it be with 10 different ways. You know, most of the time when the children grow up, they ask question, ki, ma'am, if I solve the method which my mother has taught me or my aunt has taught me, in short, they are talking about their tuition teachers, we can make it out. But they have this thing in their mind कि अगर मैं मैम के मेथड से नहीं करूंगा मैम मुझे मार्क्स नहीं देंगे. So when you teach, you tell child कि every problem has not way of finding solution by not one way but 100 ways. So he will always remember, okay, I can solve by any way, the way with which I am comfortable. That is building up his confidence. So try to go with variety of teaching methodologies when you're teaching the concepts. Be informed and get involved with different groups and organizations. So here we are on Vidyadan, other than on being with COE, other than being with only NCERT, but like this, even WhatsApp groups are formed nowadays. There are, and digital platforms are made available for us by CBSE, NCERT. So get involved. You know, what we as teachers do it. Okay, after the exam now, I'll get involved. Okay, after correction of paper, I'll get involved. So we start, putting it, piling behind or piling it up. Do not do that, because every group or every organization, every platform will update you, will keep you abreast with the happenings, the current happenings. So get involved. You will be always be informed with it. Be flexible. So today, if I'm not in a mood of learning from you, give that space to a child. I remember I take class to the grounds, even for learning mathematics or even not for learning mathematics. We do value education in sometimes maths class also by sharing stories. But then I give some conditions to them. Okay, your stories should have numbers or your stories should have something related to mathematics. So it happens storytelling time also as well as math concept also. But we change the strategy. So when you are changing the strategy, when you are remaining flexible, the child accepts you. The first thing which I feel is a math teacher should get accepted quickly by your students. If the teacher is dry, dull enough, they will not accept you. But if you are lively and if you are full with energy and you are carrying n number of things with you, not only visible but invisible also, they will always look ahead to have a class with you. Create a lively, playful, and experiential learning environment. I'm sure every one of you must have done the experiential learning sessions, and they must have given you a broad vision. At the back of the mind, for sure, you must have thought time and the deadlines, right? The content and the time. Proportionately, will it be? It is possible. Only we have to work bit smartly and we have to plan bit smartly. But we did it, and in our school we have been doing it quite many years. So it's working very happily, very lively, and teachers are able to achieve their targets in a most effective way. Use different teaching strategies, methods, and resources. So now you must have explored in this 1 year many videos, many digital platforms. Do not stop here. Though maybe a year or two we again meet physically, have always blended learning. So go with off and online method also during those period of times. Go for new strategies like teaching even construction. You must have learned so many different methods in this pandemic time because we have been virtually doing it this year. So you have got to know, there are so many different ways to teach. Monitor student progress and provide an immediate feedback to them. Very important. If you have taught a concept and slightly, like this year, we could not touch physically the children. So it was a bit difficult to take a feedback from them. Some of them get opened up to you, some of them they don't get. But find ways to design, questionnaire for them wherein you will be able to check the understanding level and you'll be able to provide the feedback. If the feedback are not given timely, the misconcept is carried out for a longer period of time, and this is where the bridge starts getting wider. They start finding disinterest in the subject and they start moving ahead with that misconcept. So try to give immediate feedback. Get feedback from the students. Yes, equally important. We should also take feedback from the child. I know today I am running short of time, so I'm a little faster. So this is what I always ask in my class. Was I very fast? Did I speak? Was I very fast to teach you? Then I try to speed up my time. I think I'm going ahead of my time. Indira ma'am, am I allowed to? Last two. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes. Now this is a very simple example of 3/4 shown with different methods. So, and which I have named it as from unlearning to learning. So use of same thing, but with different perception. So you are actually unfolding the concepts taught to them, and you are trying to get back to those basics, and they love to go back to their old days. So have classes wherein you do unlearning part also. Let them unlearn and relearn the concept. The concept becomes stronger with them. So when I say 3/4, even 75% is 3/4. Half of 150% is also 3/4. So all these different patterns give you the answer as 3/4. So it shouldn't matter how slowly a child learns, as long as we are encouraging them not to stop. So let them go slowly, but let them learn happily and forever. Let the concept be getting registered with them. This is where I try to conclude for my today's class. Some tips before you go. Participation equals value. So involve the children. Drill your skills. Prepare yourself before you go to the class always, though you might be having n number of years of experience. Trust the process. Whatever you invest, you may not get the returns immediately, but yes, they play a vital role because somewhere in the subconscious mind, it is being getting registered. Train your teams. So you don't get trained for yourself, but always have a trained team along with you. So staff room should be a place where we discuss not saris or market material, but of our subjects. Then success will be always yours. So thank you very much to all of you. And thank you for that patient listening.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope you all found it as informative as I found it informative and interesting.